Jason, obviously the first two games with Portland were slugfests. I mean, they were back and forth battles. What did you do differently, or I guess what was kind of the key difference, do you think, tonight?
I think, obviously it was a fantastic start. 2 goals in the first 15 minutes and just the tempo of the play in the first half and what we were able to do to get at them early on, I think changed the whole landscape of the match. Interestingly enough, they played with 3 defenders at the beginning, which I think had some tactical consequence as well.
Jason, you guys came off of a 4-0 win just last week. Were you concerned at all about any letdown coming into this game? And talk a little bit about their reaction.
I really wasn't, and typically I am. But I think right now we're at that time of the year where I don't think I have to be too worried about motivating the players or getting them to respond after too good a game or too bad a game. I think that we all know what's in front of us and the opportunity that it has presented itself for us, and I think that that should mean that every game is going to get our maximum effort.
Jason, the first couple of goals that you guys scored, both of them were set up by really crisp, precision passes. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the passing and how much of a difference that made for your team's offense?
Yeah, I think pretty incisive stuff. I don't know how many passes each of those goals were. I would have a feeling that we may have defended well to pick up the ball in their half of the field, and then it was 3 or 4 passes, but really good passes and really sharp stuff, high tempo again. And then when the ball is on somebody's foot in the box, they were clinical, which that's, for me, that's oftentimes the difference between the absolute best teams and some of the mediocre ones, is that the what happens in and around the box is typically clinical with the best teams. And tonight, those first 2 opportunities, Gil's shot and Plata's shot, fantastic.
Jason, that's 11 goals in the last 3 games. Can you just talk about how the offense is clicking and your decision on you have 5 forwards that are all in good form, decision to put Plata in there and how it paid off?
Yeah, I think we need to push the play button on the recorder because it feels like we're talking about this every week. I just think it's overall commitment from all of our players to be really an attacking mindset, to take some risks, to be aggressive with the way that we approach the match. And then with the forward situation, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, we have 1 injured now, so we're down to 4 that I really like. Shouldn't we feel sorry for ourselves?
Can you talk about what Plata brought to the match tonight and his energy?
Yeah, I think João is somebody that I feel like has been playing really, really well for quite a long stretch now. Has been an important player for us just with assists and goals. The one area that we were always a little bit doubtful on in the first few months of the season was how much he was going to be willing to work for us when we didn't have the ball. And tonight I saw an effort like I rarely see with forwards. The amount of defensive work that he was putting in was second to none, and absolutely critical for the success of this team that our forwards recognize that they need to help us defensively in certain spots.
What does it mean that you beat Portland twice and draw once this month with them? They're one of the top teams in the league. Do you look at that and say, wow, we're able to hang with the best over a series of matches?
I don't know. I was asked a question last week about why we couldn't beat any of the best teams, so I'm a little confused. When you have more points than anybody else in the league and you get asked a question like that, you're like, I'm pretty sure that we have the most points in the league. I guess I don't care who we're beating as long as we have more points than everybody else. We all play the same opponents, don't we?
Jason, players talk about after a loss, they want to get back and play a game really quick. You guys obviously have a long layoff now. Mm-hmm. How important was it to get a win going into a long break like that for you guys?
That's, I think, the one area that I kept thinking about today was how long 2 weeks was going to be if we didn't get a proper result tonight or a proper effort from the guys. So really, really pleased that we got a win, and we got an emphatic win. Now we can take a break. Some guys need a break, including the coaching staff. So we'll have a few days to collect ourselves mentally and physically, and then we'll hit it hard for a week and a half preparing for our next match. I would say that the converse of that is that when your things are going well, sometimes you'd like them just to keep ticking over. So probably the guys will be ready to play next Saturday, and we'll be a little disappointed they don't have somebody to run out against.
Jason, tonight's match could certainly be described as very physical. But in spite of that, your players really did a good job, I thought, of really kind of putting that aside and really focusing on what they needed to do. What did they do so well to kind of put aside the physical nature of it and to
I don't know. I don't know that I would agree with you, actually. I don't see that it was that physical. I mean, I know there was an ejection for a really hard tackle in the middle of the field, but overall number of fouls and yellow card, cautionable fouls, I didn't feel like it was overly physical. I do think that we did a good job tonight of pulling out of some stuff. I can remember Grabavoy was in on one and Beckerman was in on one, and rather than going through it and getting their foot in there and leaving it up to the judgment of the referee, they both kind of dropped out a little bit. And that's something that we've been talking about, just how to be a little bit more disciplined and not give referees opportunities to make decisions against us.
Jason, it seems like the guys are just really having fun as they play. You see a different level of energy than we see a lot of times. What's happening with this group? Because a month ago, it just looked like it was work. Now it looks like they're just having a lot of fun playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think typically, Denzel, in the middle of the season, when you're in the middle of July and the beginning of August, you get to that point where you're so far from the beginning of the season because there's all that hoopla and energy that goes to the beginning of the season, and you're still so far from the end of the season where the playoffs are that oftentimes it does begin to feel like a bit of a grind, and it's extremely hot out everywhere you go. All those things, I think, factor in to make things difficult and to make the energy level pretty low. But having said that, we got through it pretty well this year. I think in prior years we've had real bad dips. This year was a very small dip, and I think a factor in that was how many players we were missing at that exact time as well. And now we're back at it, and we're towards the end of the season, and we've got 3 trophies to win. So I think our guys are up for it. And the final point is that this is a team that's tighter than any team I've ever been a part of. Any team I've ever been a part of, playing or coaching. Fantastically together.
Watch RSL take on Seattle on September the 13th at 8 o'clock on the NBC Sports Network.